Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal. Now, what really happened in this fight? This was a shocking, quite back and forth bout where Darren Till got the better of Masvidal in the first round. And then in the second round, Masvidal started to find his stride and get used to the feeling of Darren Till. You can see in the first round that Masvidal had a difficult time catching the timing of Darren Till. And then once he started to feel it out a little bit more, and Darren Till started giving him the same looks every single time, it seemed like Masvidal had it down confidently. So Darren Till did what he always does, right? He tries to get the outside foot and look for the left hand down the center. Usually the straight left hand, sometimes the left hook. Occasionally he'll throw a jab to interrupt Masvidal, and that's pretty much it. I mean, kind of the same look every single time. He was a little bit patient after he dropped Masvidal, stayed on the outside a little bit where he could have just gave out a little bit more feints and stuff. And whenever Darren Till went in and he wanted to retract back and get out of range, he usually was just trying to lean away, right? His head movement was only leaning back, only pulling on punches, pulling on kicks, and other than that, his head was straight up in the air. Whenever he entered, head straight up in the air, ready to get countered. Very similar thing that we saw him get caught by Tyron Woodley because of this. And he did eat a right overhand left hook counter from Masvidal when Masvidal started to get down the timing a little bit better. And there was a point even in the first round where after Darren Till came in on him and Masvidal tried to connect with the right straight, Darren Till this time entered behind kind of a weak jab to measure for his left straight. And again, head enters straight in, and Masvidal was able to intercept him with a jab and then move away from the left hand. But a great thing from Till is he always had the outside foot. He always had that angle for the left hand. But after a while, Masvidal started ducking on it. So it didn't matter if Till was throwing the straight left or the left hook. Ducking under those punches was always effective for Masvidal. And there was something interesting at the end of the first round. So throughout this entire fight, Masvidal has been very patient, very much defensive, looking for counter shots, staying on the cage, staying away from Till. But by doing this, he's seeing all the tendencies, he's seeing all of Till's attacks, all of his footwork, all of his patterns. Then he started to change his tempo and tune and start going after Till in these quote-unquote random, very unexpected blitzes. And you actually saw one in the first round that very much looked like the knockout. But this time he was in the orthodox stance and he just winged out a right overhand from far, and then he followed up with a left hook. But notice Darren Till. Darren Till's reaction, like you're going to see in the knockout, is the exact same thing he did here. On the first punch of Jorge Masvidal, that right overhand is the exact same reaction he gave when Masvidal threw the left overhand in the knockout. His head is straight up in the air. He slightly leans back, slightly moves both of his feet back, kind of hopping back, as well as pointing his right hand all the way forward and his left hand a little bit closer to his head, but not quite defending his head, but is just blocking the right hand because it's so far away. His block is enough to be effective at that range. And Masvidal, in this case, he reached with that right overhand. He's leaning completely far in and switches stances into a long left hook. And that is when Till was able to evade the punch. So Masvidal was getting close with that right overhand. He just needs to create a little bit better of an angle, get him a little bit more unexpectedly, and cover a lot more distance in the meantime. Now, Till's reaction is the same thing he gave for the knockout, but he also gives it when Masvidal goes for the takedown. The exact same reaction. And Jorge actually went for the same initial attack. He goes forward and makes Till think he's going to go out for that right overhand again. But Masvidal touches the lead hand to measure to get in a little bit closer and shows him the right overhand. Till again brings out the right hand forward and leans back again a little bit. If you saw my breakdown of him and Stephen Thompson, you know that Darren Till leans on everything, right? And what happens when you lean back with your upper body? Your legs and your hips are exposed. Masvidal, I believe, is the first guy to do this to him. It just shows his fight IQ. He is as smart as they come. So he gets him to lean back with the fake right overhand, switches as he goes for the double leg. Now, there's a problem with going for a double leg against a much bigger fighter. It's such an explosive and power move. The bigger man is able to use his strength a lot more than if he's going for a single leg or something. So Masvidal pushes him back with that. And what he does is he transitions to a single leg, kind of gets a knee tap, throws Till over the unbalanced side. Great takedown from Jorge Masvidal. Not even guys like Tyron Woodley was able to get takedowns on Till. Masvidal is showing the technique, the skill, the fight IQ is there. And after you saw that strength of Till was just a little bit too much. He was just able to stand up almost and have Masvidal just hanging on him the entire time. And now we go to the knockout. So for the most part, for most of the fight ends with pretty much 2 minutes left of the second round. So out of those 8 minutes of them fighting, so you could say for the most part of that fight, Jorge Masvidal was sitting back, not really engaging. And Masvidal did say after the fight that there is no way Till would have knew that he would have done this because he has never done this before, right? He's never went for this attack, so there's no way Till would have anticipated it. So this time, Masvidal sits in the southpaw stance, right? Eliminating the outside foot advantage that Till can create on him. So it keeps Till a little bit more honest farther away and not committing to pressure Masvidal. If you're in the same stance as Till, it's harder for him to pressure you back because he doesn't have that outside foot, which is the main position he always wants in a fight. And Masvidal able to fight in either stance is perfect against a guy like Till here. So now Masvidal commits. He goes forward and throws his lead hand forward. And what is Darren Till's reaction? Right hand forward, left hand a little bit further back, and he's slightly leaning away. And he's hopping back with both feet. The exact same reaction he gave before. But what Masvidal is going for is that big left overhand. He's not throwing a jab. He's bringing down that long right hand of Till and creates a huge opening over the top. Now, unlike before, he is being extremely explosive, fast twitch here. He didn't cover the distance he needed before, and he went for the right overhand instead, where the arm back is harder to parry, right? So he goes for the lead hand, gets into southpaw, eliminates that hand because it's a lot easier to eliminate, a lot easier to parry away, and Masvidal double switches, very similar to Tyron Woodley. Dan Hardy's completely correct. This is what Tyron Woodley did to guys like Jay Huron, for an example. Almost the exact same technique here. Double switches, gets a lot of momentum going, confuses the opponent, and gets back into southpaw with all that momentum moving forward, and just wings out that left overhand, and Darren Till did not see this coming at all. This is almost like freezing the opponent through untimely aggression. And Darren Till got caught right on the chin. He didn't lean that far back, right? He was hopping back, right, with both feet. So he couldn't really lean in the air like that. So he got caught completely flush. That follow-up shot was devastating, and then the punch on the ground was insult to injury. And able to put out Till like that. The punches you don't see coming, man. They are the worst on the receiving end, and they are the best from the sender. And we know guys like Tyron Woodley wasn't able to knock out Darren Till like that with his biggest shot. And we know Masvidal doesn't hit as hard as Tyron Woodley does. This is what I'm talking about. The unpredictable shots, man. The untimely aggression completely threw off Darren Till. And it's a great performance from Jorge Masvidal. An amazing performance. And now let's get that Jorge Masvidal and Tyron Woodley fight going. That is the fight to make. Winner gets title shot. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe. My next video is going to be the podcast, so be looking for that. It might actually be the boxing breakdown tomorrow, so be looking for those. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.